Hello everyone, and welcome to the Self-Inflating Balloon Lab. This lab is a functional use of gas law knowledge in a fun way. So you can actually buy these self-inflating balloons in the dollar store, like little snap packs. So I wish I had one to do a demonstration, but it's like in a little foil packet, and you put it on a table and you smack it, and it automatically inflates. And it does so through a chemical reaction that produces gas, very likely through the very common reaction between baking soda and vinegar. So if you were that kid who, when you were little on the playground, you used to build sand volcanoes and then swipe baking soda and vinegar from your mom's cupboard and bring it to the playground so you could make volcanoes on the playground, like that was me. We're doing this same reaction just in a slightly different way. So things you're going to need your digital scale. You're going to need your smallest beaker, the little 50 ml beaker. You'll also need the second smallest beaker, the 100 ml beaker. You'll need your baking soda, your vinegar that you bought, and the small spatula. You're also going to need some tape, and you're going to need one of your Mylar balloons. So I sent you two, in case one of them was botched. So the first thing that we're going to do, I guess, is do our calculations. And I'm not going to tell you the answers to those, but you're going to calculate how much baking soda and how much vinegar you need in order to fully inflate the balloon. I tell you what the volume of the balloon is, and you have to use gas laws to figure out what pressure of gas you want in the balloon, and then take that pressure of gas and figure out, okay, well then how much of each of those reactants do I need? Do a little stoichiometry to figure out how much of each of these reactants you need in order to make that much pressure of gas. So you're going to use the small beaker actually as your weigh boat, because the weigh boat is not quite big enough. So you're going to measure out, you're going to tare the scale with the beaker on it, and then you will measure out the appropriate amount of baking soda, of sodium bicarbonate, and I want to try to get that as exactly as I can. So the sodium bicarbonate is what I've decided in this reaction is going to be our limiting reagent. So we're going to measure out the exact right amount of that. We're also going to do calculations to figure out the exact right amount of the vinegar that we need, but then we're going to pour a little bit more than that into our 100 ml beaker. So I'm going to pour in the amount I calculated, and then, I don't know, an extra 5 mils or something. This one's going to be our excess reagent, so we're going to just do a little extra than what we calculated. Now we're going to set both of these aside, and we are going to prepare our balloon. So in order to get these materials into the balloon, we're going to cut off this little, I call it the tongue, I don't know what you call this little part of the balloon, just cut that off and toss it aside. All right, and now we have an opening that we can use to put ingredients in here. We also need to make, it's a small opening, in order to get the powder in there, we're really going to need a funnel, so I'm using an extra piece of filter paper in a kit I have, but you can use just a piece of paper. And you just roll it into, sort of an ice cream cone shape. So it's shaped like a funnel. We have an opening on both ends. I'm going to use some tape just to secure this shape here. And I may actually decide that the opening at the bottom is a little too small, so I might cut it with some scissors to make it a little bit wider of an opening so my material can move in. So the first thing I want to put in, this is important to do this in the right order, the first thing you want to put in is the vinegar. So we're going to just carefully open this, the mouth of this balloon here, and I'm going to place the nose of the beaker in, and I'm just going to carefully pour. I'm going to do it kind of slowly. I may need to widen this a little bit if I can. I'm not sure I can. It's just going to take some steady hands. I need some music in the background. I can jibber jabber. So you're just going to pour all the vinegar in, and it's going to fill the bottom of the balloon. And almost got it all to the last drop, and I didn't spill any. Hooray! Okay, so now I'm going to be careful with this balloon. I don't want any of that vinegar to spill out, but I do want to set it aside, sort of, not really. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is add the baking soda to the balloon. But I don't want the baking soda and the vinegar to mix until I'm done adding it, because then the chemical reaction will start occurring and I'll start losing gas. So I want to maneuver the balloon in such a way, here I'll use the scale actually. So if I put the liquid side down and then I sort of fold it over here, have sort of like a step. So here's the liquid step, and then here is where I'm going to dump the solid into. So they won't be touching yet. So that's the key. Try to figure out a way to add this solid. So I'm going to stick my little funnel, homemade funnel, into this opening. And I'm actually just going to pour this all in to the top here. I don't know if you could see that. I just poured it all into the top of the funnel. And then it kind of gets stuck in there, so you kind of have to massage it or wiggle it until all the powder is emptied into the balloon. I'm almost there. All right, so I've got it all emptied. It's all right here in the mouth, really, actually. Let it tuck it down a little bit here. And before I mix it, I want to seal up this hole. So I want to get my tape here, and I'm going to tape it. Duct tape or packing tape might actually be better. I'm going to use 2 pieces of Scotch tape. And this is the moment of truth coming up here. We're going to mix the reactants, and our chemical reaction will occur and inflate our balloon. It's not helium, so it's not going to float, but you hear the fizzing. Hopefully it doesn't bust open. That is a very real possibility. We didn't measure it out correctly. It's looking a little sad right now. It's sort of inflated, but it's still pretty wimpy. All right, so I can just give it a little bit more of a shake. There's probably some baking soda. Just kind of rotate it a little bit. So I suppose I didn't do the greatest of measurements. But I didn't want it to bust. So shaking it and really rotating it can really help it inflate fully. But I've got a pretty inflated balloon right now, guys. It's pretty full of gas and it didn't bust open. So, ta-da! It's heavy because it's full of liquid. It's not going to float, but it is a nicely inflated balloon with a fair bit of tension. Yay for using gas laws to blow up party balloons.